Hello, everyone. Hello. So, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming today, and that too on Saturday. So, it suggests me that you guys even don't have any weekend plans, just like me. So, jokes apart, thank you so much, guys, for coming today. Before starting, I want to know, assuming that you all are software engineer, how many of you have worked on performance improvement and optimization part? Nice. So I'm seeing a lot of hands today. So it means like so good news for you guys. So you will be learning a new aspect, a new method of performance improvement and optimization today. Okay. Today basically we will discuss about web workers and the power of web workers in real world. So before starting, let me tell you a little about me. Who am I? So I'm Swati Jha. I'm currently working as a SD2 in Wayfair. 2 months back, I joined Wayfair. Before that, I was part of Five, and there I got a chance to work on server-driven UIs. And prior to that, I spent almost 2 years in Grow. So if you have ever seen any mutual fund page in Grow website, then you have already seen my work. So the Next, let's see a world. So let's get started and let's see a world without web workers. So suppose you all are working on a very cool and interesting stuff, okay? But uh, urgently, your manager assigns you a very long and tedious task which you have to work, okay? And as you are a human being, you can work on a single task at a time, right? So just like that, in the world of JavaScript is also a synchronous single threaded language, which means that it can perform only one thing at a time, and that too in a specific manner, okay? And it have only one call stack, okay? So let's understand through the pain points if there is no web worker in JavaScript through an example. So in this example, you can see that we have two buttons. One is count button and second is get answer button, right? And on click of count button, we are incrementing the count, right? And on click of get answer button, we are calling a function which is get answer to live function. And inside this function, we are basically running a loop, and inside this loop uh, basically this loop is running for 5 billion times, which will take 5 billion nanoseconds or 5 seconds. So in the world of modern web, in the world of modern webs which are very fast, this is very expensive. So which means that right now you're blocking your main thread for straight 5 seconds. So let's see in the UI how it is behaving. In the in the UI, you can see when I'm clicking on the counter button, the counter is getting updated, right? So the counter went from 1, 2, 3, and as soon as I clicked on the get answer button, now when I'm trying to click on the counter button, you can see that the value is not getting updated. I'm trying to click the counter button again and again and again. But as I have called the get answer to live function, and that function includes a loop which is running for straight 5 seconds and have blocked our main thread. So that is why right now your UI is stuck. Your UI is unresponsive. So making basically right now the counter is not updating because of that, okay? And once the loop is completed, that function is executed, the answer to life is basically you can see that the answer to life value is updated, also the counter value is updated. So basically this is happening because right now your main thread is blocked. So in the world of modern web applications, so that is your user. This is how he will react to your website if it is unresponsive. He will like, no matter how good it is, I'm not gonna use it. Okay. So because right now this will have basically blocked UI, and without web workers there can be performance issues, there can be limited scalability, and basically there will be reduced offline functionalities. We can provide offline functionalities still, but there will be very reduced capacity. Okay. So now, suppose, let's come back to our analogy where you was working on a very cool and interesting project, but suddenly your manager assigns you a very long and tedious task. So now there is delay in your task. Okay, just like the web. Okay, now your manager comes and see this problem, and for the resolution, what he does is he provide you basically hero intern. Okay. And now this hero intern, what it will do is it will perform the task on your behalf and basically give you back the result. Okay. In the world of JavaScript, the same thing is happening. The web workers is this hero intern. Okay. Now this hero intern is performing, is basically is a separate UI. Okay. Separate UI thread. Okay. And basically we are not dependent on main thread. So web worker is nothing but a JavaScript that is running in the background independently, and basically of other scripts without affecting the performance of the web page. You can continue to do whatever you want, clicking, selecting anything, while the web workers runs its operation in the background. So the major thing here is that like you can't manipulate the DOM items here. Okay. So if you want to do any DOM manipulation, then in that case, you have to basically go in your main component, and you can't do it in your worker thread. Okay. So let's see in the code how it behaves. So you can see the first line, const worker is equal to new worker answer.js, right? So here, first of all, what we have created a worker constructor, and inside the worker constructor, we have provided the URL of the file where we will write our basically worker code. Okay, and basically this is the initialization part. So this is how we initialize it. Second thing is on message and post message. Here you can see the other stuff, like you must be familiar with other stuffs, but the new things here are on message and post message. Okay, so on message and post message both are used to communicate with basically to communicate between the main thread and the web worker thread. Okay, so these are used for the communication purpose. Okay, so here you can see we have on message function, and on basically inside the on message function we have written our for loop. Okay, and once the for loop is executed, we are sending the message post message 42 here. Okay, so next, let's see how we are using it inside our get answer to live function. Okay, now here we can see that we have line number 1 in get answer to live function is worker dot post message start. So in the previous slide, in the previous section, we saw that in answer.js we had if ev data is equal to start. So from here, basically, what we are doing is we are saying, okay, now whatever the code inside the get answer to live function is, we have to do it into the worker thread. Okay, we will not use the main UI thread to do the things inside the get answer to live. Okay, so from here we have done the initialization of our worker code. Sorry. So here you can see, as soon as basically it encounters our line number 1, which was worker dot post message start, it will start the loop, which was running for 5 billion times, and which was blocking your main UI. So now it will not run in your main UI thread. It will be run in the worker thread. Okay. And next is worker.on message. So worker.on message is continuously listening. Okay, now your worker have completed your work. Okay, so now basically we in the earlier slide you had seen that we had post message, right? So basically post message is sending a message to your UI thread that the task is completed now. You can just check it. Okay, so basically from here, basically the main we are getting the data in our main thread from the worker thread. So let's see how it will behave in the UI. Second. So here you can see that if I'm clicking on the counter, it is updating the value like 1 2 3. And now as soon as I clicked on get answer type, okay, so earlier what used to happen was basically now if I try to click without web workers on our counter button, the value will not update, right? But now even if I'm trying to click on the counter button, the value is being updated because right now the all the manipulation, sorry, all the CPU extensive task is happening in the background. It's happening in the web worker thread. And once the loop is executed and we have the message from our worker thread that it is done, basically we can see that the answer to life is 42 is updated here. So let's see through a diagram how is it happening. Okay. So first of all, what we are doing is as soon as it finds in the call stack that we have this get answer callback, this get answer function, it will and in the second line which we saw, we had uh, one post message, right? Start. So as soon as it will find it, it will basically take this get answer function and add it into the worker API. Now your loop is running in the background, but still you are clicking on the counter button, right? So now your loop is running and you are still basically adding the counter functions into the call stack, and your counter function is getting executed here. Okay, now once the worker completes its task, complete the loop, okay, finish the finish the execution, it will take that answer, take the result as a callback and send it to the queue. And basically here our callback function will go in the call stack and then get executed. So this was about our web workers. So there are a lot of different type of web workers like shared workers, distributed web workers, and also the most famous one is service workers. Okay, so now next let's learn about what is a service worker. Okay, so as I mentioned before, it is a type of web worker only. So it will have its own thread, worker thread. It will not block your main thread. Second thing is, like it like just like web worker, it can't manipulate your DOM items. Okay. So let's understand what is service worker through a diagram. So service workers act as a proxy server between your browser and the network. Okay. And basically, so let's see an example here. Like what is the use of service worker? How service worker is being used. So here you can see this is a website. In this website, we have images and we have some text. Okay. Right now I'm connected to my internet. Okay. And this is working fine as it should be. Correct. Now you can see that basically if I'm scrolling on the website, now I am disconnecting my internet. So if I'm refreshing the page, this should not work, right? It should give me 404 not found page, right? Because the internet connection is lost. Wrong. But in this case, as the service worker is implemented in this page, that is why even if I'm refreshing this page, it will show me the exact. Now Uh, am I audible, guys? Yeah. Hello. Yeah. So now, as we don't have much time right now, we are have time constraint. So I'm not gonna go in very deep. I'm gonna discuss the life cycles of service worker in brief. Okay. So in service worker, we have three main life cycle. First is registration. Second is installation, and third is activation. So let's understand through a diagram how these all steps work. So this is your 1 second. So the first step is initial situation. When there are no web workers, your page are getting loaded. Okay. And now the second step happens. Basically, once your page are loaded in parallel, worker code is being fetched and it is being registered. Okay. Once it is registered, then basically the second step happen, installation. The installation step is very major step because basically starts the step, basically it starts the process of caching. It starts the process of index db. Okay. And basically and here basically basically cache are all assets like html, css, javascript file or images which we have in the file. Next is waiting for the client to be closed. Now, there can be chances like you have already gone to the page and there is already a version, okay, which is there for the service worker. So now, basically, we will wait for all the clients to be closed. And once the clients are closed, once all the clients are closed, we will basically start the activation of our service worker. And at last, basically our service worker gets activated. Next step is, suppose you have like you are not going on the page for the first time, you are going on the page for second, third, fourth time. Okay. And there is some update in the version of your service worker. Then in that case, along with the first 5 steps which I shown you in the previous slide, one more step will happen, which is replacement. Okay. And in this replacement step, basically we will replace the previous version. Basically we will delete the previous version and we will give all the access to our newer version. Now you will be like, whoa, this is too much information, Swati. And you are giving me that too without a real world example. Okay. So for real world example, we have PWAs. PWAs are progressive web apps. So there are a lot of companies which are using PWAs nowadays. So which includes Uber, Twitter, Instagram, Starbucks, and your most favorite Tinder. So why do companies prefer PWA? Because it have enhanced user experience, improved performance, faster deployment. Now, let's understand what is PWA first of all. PWA are progressive web app, which at last is a web app only. Okay. And basically, it is providing all the functionality of a native app. Like you have apps on your app on your devices. It provides all those functionalities even being a normal website. Okay. Like offline functionalities, background synchronization, all these functionalities are still being provided by pwas. Okay. That is why it is very preferred by a lot of companies. So those the preferred functionalities that are provided by pwas are enhanced user experience, improved performance, faster deployment. Like right now, as you are using a website right now, so if you want to ship a new feature, you don't need version upgrade, which is one of the main problem in apps, right? Basically if you want to ship a feature, you have to do version upgrade, right? So as it is a website, so you don't need to do that in case of PWAs. Second thing is browser cross platform compatibility, cost effectiveness, increased reach. Next is these are the basically things which are provided by service worker. You can say in case of PWA, service worker are the heart, because without these functionalities, I feel PWA was not a very successful, will not be as successful as it is today. So the basically the service worker in PWA provide offline support, push notification, background sync, caching, background tasks, security, and all, and many more functionalities. So that's it about service worker today, guys. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask.